Then it took me a while to figure out how to beat this level, and to illustrate that, here's a sped up version of my idiocy. I eventually gave myself the ability to move to the left, and that allowed me to move the control button, and I kept moving it out of the area like an idiot. Unfortunately though, more buttons started to show up, and it was very difficult to get them off the control button. The control button quickly got down to below half health, as this piece of garbage decided to stay on it for as long as possible before I decided to kill it. In this video, I was finally able to take control. Will I lose that control immediately, or will I be able to keep it? Well, let's find out by jumping into Out of Control. So I immediately pushed down the control button so that I could start the game. At this level, I had to push the S button up so that I could move downwards. Now this level was a bit more confusing. All of the controls were jumbled around, making it difficult for me to move below the button so that I can move it up. I even had to undo a move. I was eventually able to push this button up so that I could go down, which did take a while because of the jumbled controls. Now we're missing the S button, which is going to be a problem. I also couldn't move to the left, so I had to undo a move. I didn't push the button too far up, so I also had to undo that as well. I proceeded to move this button down to turn it into the down button so that I can move the control key. In this stage, I had to move the A button to the control area so that I could push the control button to the left, which I was able to do pretty quickly. I also completely forgot to record a voiceover for this part, so I had to record this really quickly. Once I was done, I placed down the control key here to move on to the next stage. Now we're in the crossroads. Whatever you do at the crossroads, you go to the left. After messing around in the crossroads, I eventually realized that I needed to move this D key down to the controls so that I can move to the right. It took me a while because I messed up, but I was eventually able to push the D button to the right side of the controls, but I still couldn't move up and the control key needed to be pushed up. I eventually decided to restart. Once I finally got the D button to the top part of this area, I was finally able to move up, but I still needed to get down here. Luckily, the crossroads helped me to get down there. And I was finally able to get to the next level. Now this level looked pretty interesting, and it did take me a while to do. So I moved up here to get out of the box that I was stuck in. I then moved this D key over here, but then I got very confused as to what to do next. Also, if you're enjoying this video so far, then leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Anyways, back to me being a dummy. I moved the D over here, then accidentally moved everything else like an idiot. I was able to undo that move, and after that, I moved the control button, but I didn't realize that it needed to be moved to the right. So I had to restart. Then it took me a while to figure out how to beat this level, and to illustrate that, here's a sped up version of my idiocy. It took me a while because I didn't know what the configuration was needed to move the control button to its proper position. I eventually decided to move the A button over here, making it so that it can move down, but not to the left. Now I just needed to move the control button over here, which was easier said than done because it was very confusing to move. I even had to keep repositioning my character to line up with the control button. Once I was done, I was able to get to the next level, which again got rid of the S button. The control key being up here was annoying because I couldn't move down without pushing one of the keys to this area, but then I realized that I could just move it upwards to this area. Well, that was easier than I expected. Well, this looks difficult. The first thing that you would notice is that I only have 2 buttons to move, and only one of them is in the right position. I eventually gave myself the ability to move to the left, and that allowed me to move the control button, and I kept moving it out of the area like an idiot. I was able to complete the level, and I got to this stage. I got the control button to this area, where it needs to be, but it needed to be combined with another button. Once I did that, it brought up the bookmark window, which I quickly got rid of. This level also limited my controls again. I moved up this button so that I can move it to the left. Once that was done, I was able to move the control button over here after a bit of difficulty. Now this level was where I got stuck. I didn't know what to do or how to move either of the buttons down, because if I move one down, then I lose the ability to go down entirely. Even as I'm writing the script, I still don't know how to solve this. So here's some sped up footage of me trying to figure out how to solve this level. Also, due to the fact that this video was too short, I decided to play another game. So we're back to this game called Out of Control. And I realized something very important in this game. I moved up to press the control button, and it started to lose health. In the previous video where I played this game, I mentioned how weird it is that the button would randomly lose health. I still don't know why the control button was taking so much damage, even though nothing was happening. It turns out that the reason why it was losing health was because I was doing that damage while standing on it, so I had to stay off the button while making sure that no one else can press it. The only unfortunate thing about this is that I can only heal if I press the button, making it so that I drain the health of the button if I want to heal myself. Once I figured that out, I stayed far away from the button while beating up the other buttons to make sure that they don't press it. I would only get on the button to heal myself. With only a minute and 30 seconds left, the button had taken a minimum amount of damage. I did have to do a significant amount of damage to it to heal myself. Unfortunately though, more buttons started to show up, and it was very difficult to get them off the control button. The control button quickly got down to below half health, as this piece of garbage decided to stay on it for as long as possible before I decided to kill it. I only had 50 seconds left to survive, but the button was so low and there were more enemies spawning that eventually I lost the battle. But I was stubborn and tried again. This time I was trying my best to keep everyone off the button. But I also took a ton of damage. So I had to do damage to the button myself just to get me back to full health. Luckily, there was only a small amount of buttons attacking, but they were still doing a ton of damage to me. Then when I was fighting this guy, I noticed that the button was pressed, so once this guy was defeated, I rushed back to it to get rid of this guy. Despite that incident, the button was still healthy, as we were about to hit the last minute. Also, while I was writing the script for this video, my computer kept freaking out and freezing or crashing, so I had to keep unplugging it and turning it back on, which was very annoying. I did get a new computer, and I hope it's stronger than my old one, because I really need an upgrade. Anyways, back to the video. Then chaos happened as many buttons appeared and the control button lost half of its HP. Eventually though, I lost with only 36 seconds left. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, then leave a like and subscribe. And if you want to watch more of my content, then click any of the videos on screen. Anyways, adios.